Blessings, everybody. Greetings. Shalom. Aloha. Hola. Mi familia. So I'm here and I'm ready for this integration activation reading. Today is the full moon, so happy full moon. Happy full illumination. We are at that point in the cycle that we call the integration period because the full moon is the time where we stop and in the fullest light we reflect upon all that has unfolded in this past cycle. And we fully integrate all of that information and everything that we've learned and all of the experiences we had so that we can fully understand it. You know, because when we're in it, there are pieces that we miss. When we rest and integrate, we can really take time to reflect upon everything that happened with our present awareness and focus. So it makes it easier to take emotions out of the situation so that we can make the right choices. The integration stage is a part where we can really understand, make sense of everything we went through so that we can then let it go and create the new space so that the next cycle has a space to fill in, okay? So the integration is all about integrating the new information and then releasing it, making space for the next cycle to begin. So here we are, the day of the full moon. What has this cycle been about for you? What were your intentions for the new moon? And how did they shift as your life shift? Because each moment, each day, each week, it's like we're a new person, you know? So our intentions have to shift along with us. So what were yours originally this month for the new moon? How did they change? How did you change? Where are you at right now? What this reading is going to show us is what the collective underlying theme is for this past cycle and what we've all just been through collectively. It's going to provide some tools to let us know what we do now, what's next, where do we go from here. And that's what these cards are going to show us right now. So I know it's the middle of the day and a lot of you are still in the middle of work, projects, chores, duties. Just take a moment if you're tuning in to really be here now. Either be here or watch it later. It will be up on the YouTube channel. Honor wherever it is that you're at. What are you doing? Be fully with that. If you're here, be here. So whatever your day looked like, all the good and the bad, breathe it in, breathe it out, let it go, make the space. Make the space, set the stage so that the cards will tell us what it is we're looking for. Make the space so that we can even receive the wisdom that wants to come through. We might ask, but we might be asking all the right questions, you know. The problem isn't always in the asking. Yeah, maybe we know exactly what it is we're looking for. But sometimes we struggle with receiving because we don't know how to clear and make that space. So it's necessary to ask and then release to make the space to then receive. All right. So one more breath. Breathe in your day and then let it go. Breathe it all in, let it all go. And then do a little, you don't have to, but I invite you to, you know, do a deep breath in and a fast exhale toward the deck. You can do any little ritual that you want to do. You can see yourself sending white light from your fingertips to the deck through the screen. You can do this in your mind's eye. You can, you know, send out a specific intention with a word or a symbol if you desire. All right. Begin. All right, I pulled 5 cards. I'm going to go ahead and flip them. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay. This is a pretty typical intuitive layout that I do. So for those of you who keep up with my readings, it should look familiar to you by now. Woo! The very first card is a major arcana. The second card is a major arcana. The fourth card is a major arcana. And the other 2 are cups. We have the Chariot, the Devil, and the Fool. These are major arcana cards. Then we have the 8 of Cups and the 9 of Cups. I can't make this stuff up, you guys. Like, this is why I shuffle so much, okay? And then check it out. We have the Chariot, which is a 7. It's the numerological value of a 7. So what we have here is a 7, an 8, and a 9 as well. There's even that sequence going on, okay? And then, if you consider this one here, we have a 10 and a 5, the Devil, the 15. The 10 is reduced to a single digit of 1, so 1 plus 5 is 6. So really, what we have going on here is a 6. Let me put you guys down here. There's the usual drop of the phone, happens at least once. Okay, so let's say that one more time here. We have a 6, 7, 8, and 9. 15 is reduced to a 6. 7, 8, 9. And what is the final card? The 5th of the 5 cards? 0. The one that can be put anywhere in the deck. So that's very interesting. Right away we have this sequence. It's interesting yet not surprising, because there's always a sequence to be found in the layout of life. Okay, there's order in the chaos, always. Where we were at the beginning of this cycle, what has this cycle been about? This is already resonant with me. I'm really curious to hear about what you guys have to say or what your experiences have been. And again, this is a collective reading, so it's for all of us. So the Chariot is where we were, what we're stepping out of, what brought us to the present. The Chariot is self-exerted strength and power. It's confidence, it's knowing, it's sowing the seeds of the future. It's, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to take action. As you can see, there are no reins actually on these sphinxes, and they're sphinxes, they're not horses. So this is a very ethereal chariot. As you can see, the stars are also placed above on this canopy here to show that there's a lot of symbolism going on up here to show that the real power is, begins at the source, of which we're all a part. And then it comes through in a specific order through the crown, through above, and by accessing that divine power, that holy power straight from source, we are truly empowered. It is only in this way that we access that true source of power that will produce sustainable results. So it's not just a chariot, but it's that chariot moving forward with that sustainable and creative and all-powerful force. And there's no reins, so it's really taking control in your own mind and in your own heart. So it looks like we had the opportunity at the beginning of this month to start some new projects. And I don't know about you guys, but I heard this not just, from my own mouth, but I've heard from many people from the beginning of this month and the new moon that it's just time, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to move ahead. And those are all words that would reflect the truth and message of this card. So we took a leap. We found the confidence and the power that we needed to move forward. But where do we find ourselves? And this is interesting because this was, I believe, this was the card of the future in one of the most recent readings that are posted on my YouTube channel. So this card is showing up again this cycle. And the Devil is materialism. And it's the Antichrist. But what is the Antichrist other than just anything that's not in alignment with nature? So this is where we find ourselves right now. In what way are we being presented with situations that are asking us to look at whether or not the situations we've created in our physical reality, as well as all of the other dimensions, are reflecting the idea that our manifestations are on their way. What I mean by this is, when you look at the details of your life right now, and you see the relationships that you've attracted, and you see the situations you've attracted, and you consider the words that you're speaking every day, especially the ones that you're speaking over and over, and the words that tend to stand out to you from others. What is your current reality? What are the words? What are the settings? What are the people? Okay, what is the setting of your story right now? Who are the characters in it? When we consider all these things, are these reflections of self, because that's all it ever is? Are these reflections of self that you've manifested showing you that, yeah, you're on the right track? Because they're either showing you that you're on the right track, that you're working toward manifesting that thing that it was you intended on manifesting from the beginning of this month, or maybe even, much longer ago. Because those situations are either showing us that everything is in alignment and we're on our way to achieving that, or they're showing us something's wrong, we got to redirect. Okay, so if we look to the relationships in our lives and we look to the dialogue that's going on in our lives, and especially the stuff that's prominent, the people we spend the most time with, the words we say the most, how are those becoming the building blocks of our future? How are those either reflecting or not reflecting the truth of what it is we're wanting to manifest? So there's really a blessing here. Whatever is showing you in your environment that you are not on the right track to manifesting what you want, okay? Therefore, it's manifesting as a block, or maybe something that you didn't even see as a block, something you thought was actually very good. When you discover these things that are actually distractions or taking you off the path, they're actually blessings in disguise. So we're seeing, okay, this is the thing that's limiting me, or this, I got to be honest with myself, this person is not in alignment with the manifestation of my true goal, or my goals. When we see that, the blessing is up to us to extract from it, okay? Reality is perception. So how are you going to handle that? Are you going to be honest with yourself and all of your reflections? Are you going to say to that person, or to that job, or to that situation, hey, you know what? Love you. Love you, job. Love you, girlfriend. Love you, place of, living, or whatever it is. But I have to say goodbye. You can always do it with kindness. You can always do it with love and always with respect. You don't have to worry about being honest. If you embody the virtues as you move through these experiences of, saying yes or no to a person or a place or a thing, you will be guided appropriately. Okay, whenever you're needing to say yes or no to something, as long as you're doing it in alignment with your personal truth, which hopefully is aligned with the truth of the one, then you will be supported. You will be supported. If you are on a virtuous path, then being your authentic self is your duty, and it's also totally protected and supported. So not only is it your duty, it's supported by the entire universe, okay? So are you going to have the strength and the courage and the wisdom and the honesty to be able to say no to the experiences that are not in alignment with the manifestation of your goals? Because if you do push past the discomfort, if you do be honest with yourself and then act upon this honesty, because without the action, it's nothing. I'm sorry, it's nothing. But once you do that, you act upon it, you will feel so good, and the blessing is right there on the other side. But you have to do this to get to the blessing. You have to go through it to get to it. If you don't act upon your truth, you will never get the blessing. So however comfortable or uncomfortable it might be to be your authentic self, you got to be it. You must be it. And you also have to know, you should know, because it feels good to know, that the discomfort is temporary. The gift will always be given to those who walk that righteous path. So ultimately, if there is going to be any discomfort, you can rest assured that it's not going to last. That even discomfort, the very thing that is discomfort, it's not going to last. It's impermanent, because discomfort is not a reflection of our divine source, and it will fade away eventually. So what do you have to lose? Why not just be temporarily discomfortable for a cause that is righteous? And what's more is, if your goal that you're trying to manifest is not in alignment with the highest good of the one, forget all of that. Then just forget it all, because you're just walking in circles. You're just walking in a loop. You're eating your own tail. It doesn't matter. We want to spiral out. We want to be ever expanding. Yes, life is a circle, but it's more than the circle. It's also the spiral. We're expanding. We don't want to just keep looping around. We want to loop around and out, ever expanding. And so it's really important to A, consider what your original intentions were, and make sure they're in alignment with the highest good of all as one. Only in this way will you be able to access that unlimited power and support that comes from the infinite universe. If your goals in some way are even just slightly out of alignment with the highest good of the one, you're limiting your potential. You're limiting your potential. So although our ego might be uncomfortable or our personality may feel like it's suffering, we can trust that the only way we will receive those sustainable results, and the only way we will really evolve, and the only way we will work toward that true bliss that comes of a full heart, an overflowing heart, is if we align our goals with the goals of God, if we align our will with the will of God, with the will of the One. This is the only way. It's the only way. So again, this is where we're at right now, really evaluating our reflections. Is everything that I've manifested, everything that's coming to the light, by the light of this full moon, what is it revealing? Is it revealing that, hey, I'm doing this, I'm really making progress here, I'm working toward that goal, which is for all of our highest good? Or are your reflections showing you, okay, I've fallen off the path a little bit here, or I got a little distracted there, but I'm grateful for that revelation. Thank you, moon, thank you, light, for showing me where I've gotten off the path a little. Because truly, we're never off the path. There's only ever one destination, and it's home to yourself. And so when we find those places that we seem to have gone off the path, once we see it, of course, if we're willing to align with our truth and act upon it, that really just becomes tools to get us right back on track. And everything that we've learned in, going off the path, we bring it right back with us. It's not lost. Everything we learn along the way stays with us. And this is represented in the old story of the Garden of Eden and the rise and the fall again, and the rise and the fall again and again and again for eternity. It's like, there's nowhere to go but back to yourself. Lech lecha, go forth into yourself, because there's no other. You are all things. So all paths lead back home to yourself. Okay? So just like with the Garden of Eden and that apple symbolizing, eating from the tree of knowledge, and now we're stuck in material entanglement, it's not necessarily to be looked at as a bad thing. That's the human and the ego self, the human mind and ego self that wants to judge that experience. But there's a science behind it, and there's actually a beautiful thing about the eating from this tree. The Bible wasn't, the Torah, the Bible, this sacred word wasn't just written for no reason. It's like, yeah, she ate from this apple, and, they ate this apple, and then they were punished. No, it's telling a very specific story. It's symbolism, okay? And it was inevitable and necessary that we ate from that tree. It's necessary that we fall into this material entanglement, okay? Because we're constantly making new creations, and we need to sink into those creations. We need to dive deep into those creations to be able to learn about them. If we think we know it all, we're never going to learn. We're just going to stop right there and say, what's the point? But this is why we're here, to learn. So the deeper we get stuck or caught, I don't like those words because they have negative connotations. The deeper we get caught in this web of material entanglement, the deeper we're going into ourselves, because it's all self. So what are those complexities but just the inner world of the self? And ultimately, if we are always going to just come back home, if there's nowhere to go but back to the self, then yeah, trap me in that web. Keep me hostage in that web for as long as I need to be, so that I can emerge with the greatest truths. So then just do it all over again, so that we more and more, every time we return to the light, we grow in that light. We bring more to the table. We add more to the pot. Okay, enough of that card. So far we have the past and the present. Okay, now moving on to the future is the Eight of Cups. It looks like we're about to access this opportunity here. This is very exciting. This is very, very clear. A lot of stuff's coming through. We're going to access the opportunity in the future to really see if where we've been putting our heart is worth it. Okay, so once we right now get clear on who it is we're needing in our lives, what situations we need to call in our lives to be able to really move toward our goal, okay, then what happens when we do that in a right way is we attract the right relationships, the right people. We get really clear on, who we're wanting to invest our time in, what we're wanting to say to them. Okay, so we're just like kind of tying up loose ends here with our goal and making sure everything is in alignment with it. And anything that's not in alignment, we understand is the devil, or is the thing that's working against our goal. That's all. If we do this successfully and correctly, we'll receive the opportunity to really feel if, now that we've come back to our heart, and we've come back to our truth, and we know where we're at, is where we are at with that heart space. Is the current project we're working on, is it worthy? Is it worthy of that power that you just have cultivated in yourself by rightly aligning with your goal, by aligning your mind with your body, with your spirit, with your reality. Now you're prepared. We did this work. Now we're prepared for the mission. Now it's about, is the mission worth it? And because it's cups, it's the suit of emotions, suit of the heart. This is the card about really asking ourselves, is the situation which we're giving our all, we're giving our heart and our emotions, our blood, sweat, and tears, is it worth it? Or is it time to go seek that cup elsewhere? Is it time to say, you know what, it's time for me to go elsewhere and just say, you know, I'm done with this. Peacefully walk away. And it may be the case that it's time to leave something behind and start a new project. Or it may be, you know, on the other end of it, it may be the case that it certainly is worth your time and effort. And it's important to not give up just yet and to keep going because you're almost at that level of completion. So this is what we're going to be presented with. Once we do that work and rightly aligning our mind, body, and spirit with our goals, moving forward in our fullness and our wholeness, now is our project worth it? Because I'm ready, I'm showing up. What project is going to be worth this power? What is going to be worth investing in? Ultimately, it's about the heart, emotions, fulfillment of the heart. What does that tell you? What does that alone tell you about the project that you're pursuing right now? Okay, something to remember as we move into this 8 of Cups is the 9 of Cups. Why are we even doing this? Why are we being given this opportunity? So that we can complete a cycle. 9s are completions. After 8 is kind of like the wake up, like the breakthrough that we need to have to move forward to the path of completion. And again, it's cups, so it's emotions, it's water. We're completing an emotional cycle here, a cycle of the heart. We're closing up a chapter of the heart or emotions in some way. And this could have to do, you know, with relationship. But it could also have to do with just relationship of the self. Is there something you finally feel complete in with yourself? Maybe an aspect of your emotional guidance system or your emotional awareness that you finally made a breakthrough with and that you finally integrated? Because it looks like something that we need to remember is that we've just gone through this cycle to get to this point of, you know, this sequence. It looks like this is what's going to happen as we move into the next moon cycle. So be aware when the new, you know, the time from now to the new moon, what seeds are we planting that are going to look like this in its manifestation? Okay, and then you can see how from the new moon to the full moon of the next cycle, this is what we're going to be going through. Okay, so it looks like we've gone through kind of like the 1 through 7 of the cups, and now we're coming to the completion of that stage with the next moon cycle. All this work we did in this cycle is preparing us for the next part of it. That's what it always is. And the next cycle is going to be just this. We're preparing so that we can ask ourselves, what project are we working on, and is it worthy of this newfound power that I've developed in embodying my mind, body, and soul, in aligning my mind, body, and soul. Okay? And so if we access that opportunity correctly in the next cycle, we will be able to complete something within our emotional guidance system, within our heart. We'll be able to feel that sense of completion emotionally. Okay, so this is the future. And the challenge as we move toward that is the Fool. Not acting impulsively, not acting too spontaneously where we set ourselves up for danger. Yes, it's important to think things through. Yes, planning has its time and place. Sure. But there's also the other side of that where we can over-plan, we can be too in our heads. That's why this is super important to access this opportunity right now to get right, to align our thoughts with our words, with our actions, so that we can have a complete understanding of who we are and then who we are in the light of this challenge, okay? If we are solid in that alignment with our mind and body and soul, then we won't be acting too impulsively. We'll plan when it's necessary, but we'll also take that leap of faith when it's intuitive. The Fool is the card of full trust and faith, and acting from that space. It's the card of new beginnings. It's the card of purity and innocence in those intentions, carrying that spirit of innocence and purity and sacredness into whatever experience we're jumping into. As we take that leap, what are we bringing with us? Hopefully nothing but a hollowed vessel. Hopefully nothing but absolute faith and trust. Because the faith, the absolute faith and trust, should be the thing that fills us up to drive us forth. Otherwise, there's some part of us that's being pulled forward, that's, stepping forth, not in our wholeness, not in our most empowered state. We're not going to access the fullest potential of the experience to come if we're not stepping into it with our fullest faith and trust. And that's okay. And life is a learning experience. So ultimately, it doesn't matter how much in the dark or in the light you are within this card. We're all going to embody this card, this archetype, this archetypal energy at the frequency we are meant to, in a synergistic way that is so beautiful beyond our individual parts in it. So it's okay if you do act too spontaneously and you do trip along the way, or you get yourself in a sticky situation. This is why we're here. But also why we're here is to call upon guidance, like these cards and these archetypes, the angels, whatever it is as your guidance system, to call them in to say, hey, prepare me. I want to know, what are the themes and how can I be as prepared as possible, then surrendering the rest of myself and my plan to the One, the Holy One, the Almighty, the Creator, and the divine plan ever unfolding. Okay? So this is just showing us that we have the opportunity to access the Fool and that ultimate faith and trust, and that this is going to be the thing that's challenging us. This is going to be the bridge that's getting us to that opportunity that lies within this next moon cycle on its way. If we really want to get clear on the opportunity to be able to close up a cycle of our emotional chapter here, to really feel our heart's fulfillment, then we need to be alert, keep our ears perked, keep an eye out for this theme. Where are we not trusting? Where are we not fully trusting? Where maybe are we tricking ourselves into thinking that we were trusting, that we were carrying faith, but maybe we haven't been? Where can you eliminate doubt and cultivate faith? And where you've been faithful, where can you be more faithful? What space can you make to fill with more faith? So let's all help each other, because this is a collective reading, so let's all help each other by remembering our ally card here. Remembering that we're on our way to completing a cycle. This is our motivation. So when we come to this part soon of the Eight of Cups, of really having to either dig in deeper and, keep going, even though it's going to be difficult and take a lot of work, or maybe it's time to leave a situation behind and move forward. Either way, that can be scary and stressful to think about. It can be scary and stressful to anticipate this, like it's on its way. But not so much when we remember our ally, our friend right here telling us, you're doing this for a reason. You're doing all this for a reason. We are doing this life thing multidimensionally for the ultimate reason. And so this is telling us, guys, hang in there. All of the work that you're doing has a purpose and a reason that is, and this is a collective reason, so a collective reading and reason. So it's for all of us. You're doing something huge. You're completing a cycle for you, for us, for we, for one. Okay? So we started off this month with a bang. Woo! Ready to go. We found ourselves hitting this wall. Okay? To really make sure when we move forward to access the future, the opportunities that lie within the future, from what self are we going to be responding to those opportunities? Hopefully our best self. Hopefully a self that is fully aligned with our truth. And how do we do that? I explained that a little bit by looking at our reflections of self and using those as guideposts. Really carefully choosing the people in our lives, the words we choose to say, the words we choose to hear and focus on, the places that we dwell. Where are we investing our energy? Because as we align, our outer world with our truth, our inner world will follow. Because when it happens in one dimension, it happens in all. This is the law of reflection. As above, so below. As within, so without. This is the law that reflects our oneness. Okay? So when we do that and we prepare and we align our inner and outer worlds with our most authentic self and our goals in reflection of that, we will call forth the opportunity in the next cycle to make sure that where we are giving this power of our most authentic self is for the right cause and for the right reasons. That it's either time to dig even deeper into the projects we already have going on, or it's time to be honest with ourselves and move forward, move ahead. Ultimately, wherever we move to, wherever we're moving, even if we move away from whatever we've been working on and we're called to move forward, go out there into the world and start a new project, it doesn't have to be so scary when we know that everything is the self. And we're not really leaving anything behind because all things are one. And whatever work we do in spirituality and whatever work we do in cultivating more love and more awareness and more kindness, that's never lost. So whatever it is we're having to walk away from, if we have to walk away from it in the future, it's because we're working toward completion of a cycle, first of all. And it's also, nothing's lost. We're not walking away from anything because what's behind you and what's before you is the same as what's within you. In fact, that's where it's coming from. So we can begin to really see now how this is a collective theme. It's bigger than us. And it's just a necessary step that we have to take. It's a necessary part of the bigger story. That's all. And this card will come up again in life many times. And so will this one, and so will this one. What's behind them is what's important. What are these archetypal energies and what are they trying to show us about our situation right here, right now? So remember, carry your faith, guys. Keep an eye out because it can be really sneaky. For some of us, it's really obvious where we haven't been, carrying that faith, where we've been doubting, or maybe where we've been stuck and not being brave enough to take that leap of faith. But for others, it's going to be really tricky to see, where have I not been exhibiting the most faith? Where have I been doubting myself and, my loved ones and the Creator, the Source itself? And it's not something to be sad about or scared about or nervous about. It's something to be excited about, in fact. And I made a video on my YouTube channel yesterday, guys. Check it out, Rebecca Magic on YouTube. I made a video yesterday saying that the secrets lie within the shadow. Not only should we not be running away from our shadows or our fears, we should be running right toward them. Don't just ignore them. Move toward them. Run toward them. Because within them lies the keys to our transformation. So where are we being doubtful? Where are we not embodying faith? Because all we need to do is find those places, find those points, and then alchemize it. Say, now that I'm aware that this is where I wasn't having faith, I'm going to insert the faith there. That's all. It's like you're sewing up a patch, okay? So it can be an exciting and fun process, especially when we detach from the physical nature of the self and know that we are eternal beings. We're all in this together, and we are here to correct the world. What does this really mean? To heal the world. How do we do that? By keeping in mind the big goal of having a heaven on earth. And how do we do that individually? By uniting heaven and earth within ourselves, by uniting our upper and lower bodies, our masculine and our feminine, by doing this work, by asking for guidance from divine symbols so that we can further align with ourselves, inner selves, and each other as the self, so that we can move forward with the most grace and ease, with the most efficiency, and without crisis. So wow, that was really powerful. We had 3 out of 5 were major arcana and 2 of them were cups cards. So that means matters of the heart and emotions. So we're really working on completing a cycle here, you guys, and we've got a lot of power to be able to do it. We just got to cultivate that faith in self. There's no other but the one. And you are a part of that, and I'm a part of that. And we are that together. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you all. Happy full moon. And may the light reveal more blessings than you were able to see at the beginning of this moon cycle, at the time of the new moon. May you be open to the changes. May you be open to releasing the expectations or the control. May you find this openness through the knowing that there is something unfolding that is bigger than all of us, but that we all are a part of. Each one, a very important part of the unfolding of it. Thank you guys. Shalom.